We are diving into something that's going to reshape the rental landscape in a big way, the Renters' Rights Bill. In details. My name is Inna, and I manage estate and property management company called My House. The way we rent homes in the UK is changing, and this is the most frequent questions I have been asked by my landlords in the past year. So if you're a landlord or thinking of becoming one, this session is for you. How many of you have thought about what's going to happen if all of the tenancies became periodic one from the current ASTs? And who have considered how long does it take to evict a tenant currently from the property if you need to serve them with a Section 8 or Section 21? Let's have a look at what we have coming up soon. Why does it actually matter? The private rented sector in England houses around 4.6 million households, roughly 11 million people. That's about 1 in 5 households nationwide. Every one of these households, plus their landlords, will be touched by the Renters' Rights Bill because of the changes it's going to bring. How did it all start? At the beginning, it started with the Renters' Reform Bill in 2023 that failed to pass in government before 2024 general election. Upon winning the election, the new Labour government made renters' rights a key policy pillar in their manifesto. Their aim was to target younger voters, and as you can see from the numbers, was a good number to start. The bill was driven by mounting concerns that, unlike other tenures, the private rented sector has less security, affordability, and quality. What is changing exactly? Abolition of Section 21, no fault eviction. Landlords will now need valid grounds to regain possession. Periodic tenancies from the start. Fixed term contracts become the default, and tenants gain more flexibility. Greater transparency on pre-tenancy and clear rent information, as well as access to landlords' property data. Anti-discrimination and pet provisions. Tenants can't be refused unfairly, and requests for pets must be considered reasonably. Expanded legal redress, broader access to rent repayment orders, and the new private rented sector ombudsman for the dispute resolution. High standards for property conditions, bringing decent home standards into the private sector. Let's have a look at it in the details, from before the tenancy and to the end. When we start the tenancy, there will be no rent bidding. Landlords must advertise the rent and cannot accept more than advertised. Only 1 month's rent in advance is allowed, so they won't be permitted to accept rent like 6 months in advance or more. No discrimination against families or those on benefits, but it is still subject to affordability checks. Written tenancy statement will be required in a new standardized form. All landlords and properties must be registered on a new PRS database. This phase focuses on transparency, so there'll be no more best and final offers on rent. Tenants must know upfront what the rent is being asked, and the landlords can't shift upwards. So no bidding will be encouraged. An upfront rent is capped at 1 month, and a key shift is discrimination against tenants with children or those on benefits will be unlawful. A written tenancy statement becomes mandatory, and every landlord and property must appear on a national register. Tenants gain stronger footing. They can challenge rent early or any increases later must follow a strict process. Evidence will definitely matter. Landlords should keep records of comparable rents, and you can start doing that already now. A pet request shift from no unless agreed to yes unless reasonably refused. Decent home standards will raise the bar. No mold, unsafe heating, or structural risks. There will be extra compliance during tenancy as well. Rent repayments orders are planned to be extended up to 2 years of rent. If the false or misleading information provided to PRS database, that will be classified as an offence. Banning orders will be introduced on a wider scope, and local authorities are to enforce decent home standard compliance. The enforcement we do see already now, enforcement is tightening. The data honestly is crucial. Misuse of a PRS register is an offence. Council will have more power to enforce standards and issue banning orders for repeat offenders. In Borough Council of King's Lynn and West Norfolk, they have now introduced a free service where you can book a survey with a surveyor that is provided by the local authority, and they can inspect your property at the moment free of charge for any mold. The surveyor itself, he is independent, but the report goes to the local authority and to the landlord. So if it's service that you would like to check your property for any mold or damp issues, get in touch with your local authority, because whenever you are, they might have this service locally too. I'm currently just noticing it in our King's Lynn, Borough Council of King's Lynn and West Norfolk. And then at the end of a tenancy, it's a complete new landscape. Section 21 eviction that we can use at the moment to serve a tenant with 2 months notice will be completely abolished. Section 8 grounds will be expanded and restructured, such as selling, moving in family, or rent arrears will be added. Notice periods vary, shorter for antisocial behavior or longer for the most other grounds. Accelerated possession road completely will disappear, and court digitalization promised for efficiency. And this is a headline change. No more no-fault evictions, and we hear it absolutely everywhere at the moment. Every possession claim in the future must be used under and rely on Section 8 grounds. New grounds will include, like I mentioned, selling your property completely or letting your property to family member, and it doesn't have to be immediate family member. It could be child, grandchild, or you would like to live in the property yourself. But notice rules completely will be changed. So the longer for the possession, there will be 3 months rent arrears, as under Section 8, there is 2 months rent arrears at the moment. So there has to be 3 months of rent arrears, and you will be able to serve 4 weeks notice for that. But for antisocial behaviors, different time scale will be introduced. We expect a heavier burden of proof and a loss of accelerated possession. And at the moment, digital court system is not advanced, so they are introducing or planning to introduce new digital court systems, but that may ease backlog, but there is no guarantees for that at the moment. Penalties are real and rising. Even small breaches like failing to register on a PRS database carry a 7,000 fine. Repeat offenders risk 40,000 of all prosecution. Rent repayment orders double the risk window for 2 years. Compliance no longer optional, it's survival. On a slide, you see just a proposed penalties. They constantly vary as we see the bill is progressing through Parliament. So by the end of the approval, those penalties may change. Talking about a timescale, where we are now. At the moment, the bill is at pinpoint stage between Commons and Lords. Government on the 8th of September has overturned most Lords' amendments, such as pet deposits, short-term relet periods, and the royal assent was expected late in 2025, but now we don't know when it actually is going to happen. The implementation is phased with the transition allowances, such as 3 months for existing Section 21 notices. But what is planned that the bill is going to be when it comes into become law, all of the tenancies will become periodic straight away. There'll be no period given for implementation of that. The bill isn't law yet. It's bouncing between Commons and Lords, and the royal assent again could be later on in the year or could be in early 2026, and there is no time scale given. But we do expect implementation in 2026. This does give landlords some time, but not forever. What landlords can do at the moment. What you see on the screen, think of it as your compliance checklist. Registration, documentation, property conditions, insurance, all must be watertight. If you systemize now, you will avoid costly fines later. Of course, if you have an agent, you can ask them to provide all this information for you so you can keep a record on file. And if you need any help, you can always give us a call and we can assist you further. Most of the important matters, such as review a tenancy agreement, should be on your priority list. And keep an eye on your local authority newsletter. They should inform you as soon as any changes will come through. Not every landlord will want to adapt. Some may choose to exit. As you can see from the graph, there are few people who have already chosen to put their property on the market. If you do decide that you would like to sell your portfolio or sell your investment, don't do it blindly. Do your research and get some consultancy advice and any advice that you can get in order to make an informed decision. If you do decide to sell, again, you can choose it to sell as a whole portfolio or individual property. Approach it from consideration for all what's the expenses that you'll need to pay and obviously the tax consequences too. At my house, we are here to help you to move forward, whichever route you take. We cover Norfolk, part of Suffolk and Cambridgeshire area. And you can get in touch with us to have a free advice or free valuation on your property portfolio or your individual home. Alternatively, you may choose to scan a QR code on the screen now and get your free property report. And if you have any questions, get in touch and we'll be very happy to help. Thank you.